that the attraction appropriately has a safe word to yell out if a patron happens to feel violated or too uncomfortable.
Is it pineapple? I'm kind of interested to know now. What the fuck? Whoa! Slender Man's getting sturdy, and he's here to check your prostate. Today we're looking at times when haunted houses went too far, so sit back, relax, maybe grab some snacks, and prepare for this ride we're about to go on. Also, happy Halloween. This video is by Mr. Nightmare, and I'll make sure to have him linked in the description below.
The first haunted house on this list is Dead of Night. Dead of Night was an attraction run by the Chamber of Horrors on Long Island, New York that closed in 2015. It was regarded as one of New York's most extreme haunted houses, and it had one of the most horrifying haunt openings many had ever seen. Everyone waited in lines, listening to a calming pre-recorded message saying, "We are here for your protection.
Everything will be okay. You are safe. We
Does
are
not
here
feel
to
safe.
protect you and care for you. We love you. Nothing is real. All is well."
Which was interrupted at intervals by an air raid siren and men in gas masks and suits who each grabbed an unsuspecting patron and dragged them into the attraction. However, you'd be lucky if you were dragged in. Some people were zipped into body bags and some were thrown over actors' shoulders and carried in.
You can't see it, but I am jaw dropped. How is that legal, bro? That's actual kidnapping.
The attraction opened with this very strong abduction scenario. Then the focus shifted to humiliation, which included the smearing of strange substances on patrons' faces and even hitting people in the face with large and painfully heavy objects. Dead of Night has been...
Did they add the bonk sound effect like it's fucking Tom and Jerry? This just sounds like an actual crime being committed for some people's pleasure. And kinks. They did say stuff was being smeared on them.
Discontinued from the Chamber of Horrors, but people to this day still hope to see it return. In Chicago, Illinois, there's a haunted house called Miasma, which is just as extreme, if not more extreme, than Dead of Night. Miasma is restricted to those 18 and older, and patrons may only enter alone. Patrons will be restrained, blindfolded, smeared with blood, endure heavy physical contact, and more. It's invite only, however, and patrons who
I mean, I couldn't just not put the hat on. I'm sorry.
receive an invite commonly describe the instructions in the email to be very vague but clear, and that was to not share the location of where they're going with anyone, to show up alone, and do not show up late. If the instructions were ever disregarded, the experience would end.
That's kidnapping. I swear to God, that's not a haunted house. That is actual kidnap. Show up alone. Don't tell anyone where you're going. Discreet location. That's kidnapping. You're gonna get kidnapped. Don't go there.
All guests are asked to refrain from sharing details of the experience, making it harder to get many details about what goes on inside. But some patrons have described their experiences to involve physical pain, often leaving with claw marks on their skin, psychological torture, emotional distress, and a lot of violence.
What?
Miasma can be very physically demanding, forcing patrons to sometimes crawl through tight spaces. One patron said she at one point forgot she was in a haunted house and tapped out when it started to feel like she was genuinely in a life or death situation. The location isn't even revealed to guests until 24 hours prior, and allegedly the location always changes.
Quick question. How do they know that you told some... Okay, hold up. I cannot talk with this on my face. But what I'm trying to say is... Ow, I just zipped my fucking hair. How do they know that you didn't tell your family where you're going? Are they taking your phone and like... Okay, am I stuck? Oh God. Call the cops! I want out! Oh, fuck! I need to chill the fuck out. That's embarrassing. Where'd my hat go? But, yeah, how do they know that you didn't tell your family where you were going? That just makes no sense. Are they checking your phone?
House, the basement. Underneath the regular, tamer attraction known as Scariest in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, used to lie what was known as the basement at Scariest, which was a much more intense, immersive, and interactive experience than that of the one upstairs. and it was held inside a nearly 100-year-old historic and apparently actually haunted building. It's been closed since COVID, but it's rumored to be returning soon. You may enter in pairs or alone, though odds are not many people will be entering this place alone. The actors in this haunted house are incredibly convincing, and there's a lot of improvisation and dialogue as you make your way through each scene of what's basically your own personal real-life horror movie.
That's awful. Here's an idea. If we get to 10,000 subscribers by this time next year, I'll go to one of these, places. I'll film it, I'll bring the camera in, and I'll just show you guys all around there.
Possible to make it from start to end without coming into contact and having to deal with the actors stopping you and messing around with you. There's extreme physical contact, sexual undertones, real electric shock, religious themes, very tight spaces, and much more. Like most attractions I'll talk about in this video, you must sign a waiver before entering. The basement can get so disturbing that the attraction appropriately has a safe word to yell out if a patron happens to feel violated or too uncomfortable.
Is it pineapple? I'm kind of interested to know now. What the fuck?
The Cult was an attraction located in North Conway, New York.
We cannot just skip over that fucking jump scare. I'm gonna put the mask back on, and we'll continue.
New Hampshire. The Cult had been called the ultimate in terror, only for die-hard fans of true experience of real-life terror to test your fears. It was an hour-long attraction, and patrons had to walk through alone. Absolutely no groups allowed. Going through it, you would encounter violent situations, and the actors would lay hands on you many times. As the nervous patrons meet a man before entering the attraction who asks if they have any problems with darkness, heights, claustrophobia, eels, rats, bugs, needles, or being fully submerged in water. Most of the patrons were already nervous of what they were getting themselves into. Patrons were given a red card on a lanyard. If one decided the experience was too much, they would give up their safety pass and it would be over. During the experience, patrons would be asked to step into a chairlift that led to a dirt path, which would then lead to a cabin where they would meet a man who would shove them into a booth, yell at them, spray them with unknown liquids, throw a bag over their heads, and then carry them outside, where the simulated torture continued.
People are paying for that? And wait, he never said it wasn't bodily fluids. He only said random fluids. Are you telling me that there's you know what in there? Some piss, maybe a little you know what? That's disgusting, bro. It should at least be said like, hey, nothing like that. Not just up in the air. You can't just leave it at random fluids. That's too broad.
As patrons continued on, it only got worse. Throughout the attraction, patrons would encounter live animals, for example, being forced to have snakes or cockroaches crawl on them. Forced edibles, for example, being forced to drink what the actors would claim as animal urine. Extreme violence, and much more. The Cult has been closed since 2013.
Good. Place
The Blackout Haunted House was an attraction that had two locations, one in New York and one in California. It featured extreme violence, full frontal nudity, forced edibles.
Did I hear that right? Full frontal nudity? Count me in. Also, quick question. Does Slender Man wear shoes, or am I good like this? Let me know in the comments.
Submersion in water, physical contact, and patrons had to enter alone. Patrons were abducted in vans, waterboarded, and even rolled naked in a sheet of plastic and forced to walk barefoot down a hallway.
What?
Said hallway would lead to a scene with a horrifically tall figure and a frail woman. And if I described the scene, this video would probably get age restricted. As a patron would pass, the tall man would stand up, exposing his body, and then threaten to make physical contact with the patron. Blackout overall relied on darkness, loud noises, violence, and sexual situations to terrify its customers. Until around 2015, it had been a solo-only experience, but starting in, I believe, 2016 or 2017, patrons were allowed to enter in groups.
Good.
It seems Blackout hasn't been open for the past 2 seasons.
Even better.
Freakling Brothers Victim Experience 3 is a Las Vegas attraction featuring extended...
That sounds like an awful video game title, bro. Freakling Brothers Victim Experience 3. This one has to be like 5 times worse than the last
immersion
one.
in water, electric shock, and extreme physical contact. The victim experience is extremely intense, and you must go through alone. One patron said he watched a camouflaged attacker appear out of nowhere, grab his colleague by the foot, then knock her down and drag her down a long hallway as she screamed. He was left alone in the darkness until the attacker came back for him and threw him over his shoulder. Patrons will experience electric shock at some point, as well as the feeling of near drowning as they're submerged underwater for extended periods of time. As the title of the attraction suggests, once you enter, you are a victim. You will experience pain and you will be tied up, and you may be carried and thrown. Freakling Brothers actually run 3 haunted houses every year: Castle Vampire, Circus of Horrors, and Gates of Hell. The Gates of Hell became one of the first haunted houses in the country to be R-rated due to graphic content and their requirement of patrons to be over 18 and
That is insane. Okay, so the electric shock. Let's talk about that real quick. Are you just tasing them? Or are you taking, like, an afraid wire and making them touch it while it's plugged into a wall outlet? Like, what's going on here? And I don't know if just because they signed a contract, that doesn't mean it's not torture. You kind of catch the drift I'm saying?
sign a waiver. The victim experience takes place in the Gates of Hell attraction.
I'm so sorry.
And it
These
simulates
are so
what
tight,
it would be
bro.
believed to be like to die and actually go to hell. Without giving too much away, victims are put in several scenes where they're touched, forced to get down on their knees, and subjected to things that...
What the fuck? Down on their knees? Down on their knees? What do you mean down on their knees? I don't know that I want to actually know why they're down there.
anyone would find uncomfortable. The Raven's Nest was one of the lesser-known extreme haunted houses, and it's been closed since 2009. It had been closed after it was deemed as too extreme by the town. Raven's Nest featured actors who were paid to induce pain on the patrons, as well as other humiliating methods of torture. The owner, Mike McNair, would hire mostly larger and more intimidating actors who would be capable of easily picking up, tying, or shoving patrons. Visitors would also be kicked to the floor and forced to do things like lick the ground, eat disgusting foods and liquids off the floor, and even have actors try to induce vomiting in the patron.
Why does it look like she's enjoying it? Okay, the more I look at it, it looks like she's enjoying it just a little bit too much.
The attraction also
Let's get
played
off
with
this
claustrophobia,
screen.
having patrons crawl through air vents filled with real cockroaches and spiders, as well as constant tight and cramped rooms and pathways. There was no safe word, which may have been a small factor in the eventual closing of the Raven's Nest.
No safe word.
Many of you definitely have heard of this last one, McCamey Manor. This San Diego
Yes.
attraction, if it could even be called that, shouldn't even be in the same category as regular haunted house attractions. This place tops the list because it tends to use extreme scare tactics that are off limits to professional attractions. It also can't be said that what goes on in this place is safe. Participants are covered in blood.
Wait a minute. Hold up.
It also can't be said that what goes on in this place is safe.
Is that a kitty cat?
Participants are covered in blood, forced to eat disgusting things, threatened with power tools, stuffed in a clothes dryer.
Fucking ads, man.
Play for an ultra?
Racy for an ultra?
Don't forget, there's ultrasound.
Submerged in water for extended periods, physically assaulted, and even given an unwanted haircut. Participants
Why?
often leave covered in blood, commonly their own, and so far nobody has made it through to the end. There used to be no safe word, and they would only pull the plug when medically necessary. This place plays with people's...
When medically necessary. So, I feel like a panic attack wouldn't fall under medically necessary, but their face hanging off their body would. There's an issue on drawing the line at medically necessary, right? Or am I the crazy one? Am I a pussy? You know, I'll take it. Call me a pussy all you want in the comments. That's awful. You're leaving in your own blood too? How does that work? Like, tell me that, man. Yeah. So, I can't get into
fears of
that.
claustrophobia with
Whatever,
tight
whatever.
spaces and corridors. People's fears of spiders, with restrained victims having up to or even more than 4 tarantulas crawling over their faces. People's fears of clowns and just about anything else you could think of.
Clown's
Perhaps
not too
one of the
bad.
more shocking parts is that the experience can go on for up to 10 hours, obviously a big contributor to why nobody's made it through to the end yet.
10
For
hours.
a long time, the place didn't have a safe word, and Russ, the owner, only added one after he was told he legally needed to. But even with this safe word, apparently the torture can go on for many people who repeatedly use the safe word, rendering it basically useless. McCamey Manor also garnered a lot of criticism regarding the $20,000 cash prize that they promised to anyone who can make it through to the end, with a lot of people believing they simply wouldn't allow anyone to win, because oftentimes the workers will decide for the patrons that they're done, even if the patron wants to keep going. McCamey Manor is self-described
rigged,
as a
bro.
place for extreme horror lovers only, who wish to experience what true terror and gross-out torture feels like. But apparently there are a lot of people who wish to experience it, as there's a waiting list of more than 20,000 people. There's
What?
currently a Change.org petition to close down McCamey Manor for good, with over 180,000 signatures. Thousands of people shun this place for claiming to be a haunted house attraction, when they believe it's simply a torture chamber under disguise. Rush's 40-page waiver is...
Okay. They agree they must divulge all information regarding... Alright. Participants fully understand and agrees that their teeth may be accidentally chipped, broken... Is that broken or broker? Chipped, broker, or lost. And will not hold McCamey Manor responsible or liable. It's so hard to read with this on, but I know I also suck without it. Participants fully understand and agree that it is possible that joints, jaw, shoulder, elbow, wrist, knee, hip, etc. may be accidentally dislocated. Participants fully understand and agree that they will be participating in various medieval torture devices, such as knife throwing while strapped to a spinning wheel, shackle chains, gibbet cage, I have no idea what that is. Stocks, I have no idea what that is. The rack, I have no idea what that is.
also very questionable, and he apparently misspells the word liable multiple times to attempt to make certain points of the waiver void. Whatever your thoughts on this place are, anyone would
piece of
admit
shit.
it's the definition of a horror attraction that takes it way too far.
Yeah, seems that way. That is insane that they're able to do that. But that is it for today's video. There we go. That is it for today's video. If you guys did enjoy, make sure to drop a like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.